Hello there everyone, this is Dove again. This is in my kitchen in the big house, and you're looking at sugar ants, or piss ants as they're also called. They're also called pharaoh ants. And they are currently on the bait that I put out for them. They're everywhere. And so I'm going to show you there's more bait. I smeared it on the stove. Sugar ants are really prolific. Let's see if I can zoom in again. Not so well. There are actually not very many right now. I've scared them off. But we got infested in the springtime. It always happens in the spring. And so what happened is they come in the spring because it's really wet outside, and they can get in every little crack and crevice you can ever even think of. And there are big gaps under here. This is by the back door. And so they were coming in here. So I first put down, this is diatomaceous earth. It's very powdery. And when they walk through it, it like cuts open their little exoskeleton. Hello. My cat wants to eat. Hello, Luna. Hi, Stella. And so they can get in pretty much everywhere. And so the first place they went was the cat's feeding station here. And I had to put diatomaceous earth all around it, and now they won't go there anymore. So they had to go somewhere else. And so they have made, for some reason they came in my cabinet here, and there's no crumbs, there's no food down there, there's no reason for them to be in there, but the other day I opened it and they were crawling around in there, so I had to put some bait in there too. But there's definitely a nest or a colony inside this section here. Like this, you could technically lift that up, and there's an empty space in there, and then there's the oven. They're not in the oven, they're in this empty space here. And I'm pretty sure there's a queen in there and there's a colony in there. And then the other ones that are coming from, that are in there, there's a trail. And so they're in there. Let me show you. Oh wait, it's locked. I lock it because the cats like to try to get in there. Hello, Luna. Hi. They're waiting to eat. They're waiting for their tuna. Sorry, I'm moving fast. And so I've got this magnetic lock on there. That's the key for it. And I can keep it unlocked, but yeah. No, stay back. There they are. I put 2 baits in there. I first just had that one, and it was full of ants, so I put a second one. Luna's curious. What are they doing, Luna? What are they doing? So yeah, I found them in here. So, you know, you're supposed to put baits out wherever you've seen them. And I saw them in here, so I put that bait in there, and it was full of ants. Stella, not you two. And so I put that second one, and I keep it locked so the cats can't get in there. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Move your head. Get your head out of there. What are you doing? So it's locked. Both of these are locked, so they can't get in them. So anyways, I found them in there, and what they're doing is they've got a trail coming out behind. Well, they're coming from back there. This is my outside wall. This is the outside wall. There's the door. And then this is an inner wall. This is where all the pipes for the plumbing run. All the way throughout this wall, it's pretty thick. And so they're coming up from that corner, and then they've made a trail, and they'll go across that way, and they were going up. See, you can see them still going across. There were a lot more earlier, and so you could really see, but see, they're going across the doorway. And then they're coming down, and they all follow the same trail, and see, they're going both ways. And so they're taking the bait, and they're taking the bait back to the colony, and hopefully the colony will be dead soon. And so they're coming down, and then they're going across. It's the same trail. It's a pheromone trail, as my son explained to me. And then they're going behind that cabinet, inside, and they're down there. So, they don't go there anymore, because the diatomaceous earth, it's all sprinkled all over their feeding area. Because the ants would get in the kibble bowl and also in their wet food. Like if there was any wet food left in their dishes, because I feed them twice a day with the wet food, and the kibble stays out pretty much all day. And so that was a big problem area. So I had to sprinkle that, and there's no ant activity there now. They're totally done. This is also cat proofing. The cats like to be very curious, if you can't tell. Alright, so that's it. The bait is 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, 2 tablespoons of corn syrup or honey, and 1/2 teaspoon of borax, which is like, 20 mule team borax, whatever. And then they will feed on that and take it back to the nest and feed it to the rest of the colony and to the queen, and it should kill out the whole colony. And they are very hungry, very eagerly taking the bait, if you can't see. So I just put the bait on wax paper. Actually, I use freezer paper, but you can use wax paper, and I put it on the dull side, because the shiny side I didn't figure the ants would crawl on, so I smeared it on the dull side, and then I just taped it to the counter. Taped it to the wall and to the counter. And right here I just smeared it right on the stove, because they had their trail. They were going all the way around, and you could tell they were very, very busy here, so I know there's something inside there. I'm almost afraid to lift the thing. But I just went ahead and, because I can clean that off later. Once they're all done, that'll come off. I can clean that off. But I just smeared it all along their little trail. Little piss ants. And in other places, I just put it on that freezer paper. I had one right here, and there was almost no activity whatsoever. And so that's the one that's up here now. I just taped it to the side of the wall because there was that very immense trail. I mean, there were just, I hate to say hundreds, but at least dozens and dozens of ants. And so it was obvious that that was a very popular place. So I wanted to put one right in the middle of the trail, and then at the end at the end of the trail, which is inside the cabinet. So hopefully this will take care of my piss ant problem. and hopefully maybe tomorrow I can make another video and update. This is May 29th, 2019, and so hopefully tomorrow there'll be pretty much no more activity. Alright, say goodnight, Luna. Say goodnight. Are you hungry? Are you? Are you hungry? What are we doing? Hi, Stella. Stella gonna say goodnight? Stella hungry? Oh. What was that, Luna? What was that? Are girls hungry? Yeah? You want some tuna? Oh? Alright. Alright. Say goodnight. Alright, talk to you guys later. Hello everyone, it's Dove again. It is June 2nd during the daytime, and I wanted to show you what's going on currently in my kitchen with the ant situation. I decided the other day, well, yesterday, to put out a different kind of bait because the first bait worked very well, and the trail that was going along here with the peanut butter bait, and it was going all the way across and down into my hello Stella and down into that cabinet. They finally died. So, and most of the ones that were hanging out here on the peanut butter and the corn syrup, they had finally died, and there really wasn't much activity. And then the next day, or really late that night, I think it was the next day, they started coming again in there. I opened the cabinet and there were more in there, and I was like, okay, well, we're not done. And the bait had dried out, and I ran out of the mixture that I had made up. So I decided to try a different recipe, which was basically the same thing except for you use jelly instead of the peanut butter and the borax, or excuse me, the peanut butter and the corn syrup. You just use jelly. So I put 3 tablespoons of jam in here and a half a teaspoon of the borax, and then this time I used wax paper. And I did that, and they really loved it, and they started going to it. And this morning there was not a lot of activity, but then they had dried up. My traps had dried up like totally, and so even though, I mean, it's still a little bit sticky, but I'm worried that there's still more. And over here I saw one at least, but I don't know where his home is. He just kind of wanders around, and there's been a few more over here, but not much. But under the cabinet is where I need a paper towel. I'll put my finger in that. And so this is where most of them were going, and they changed their path. So they don't go up anymore. They're going down. And they found, I told you they can get into very, very small places. They're actually going just behind the trim here. I don't know if you can see that little guy. But now they're going up and across the same way. And then it looks like they're coming this way now. Over and across and behind the crack. Because, you know, they can get in everywhere. And so there's a little tiny crack there, and that's where they're going. You can see them on their little trail. So now, I don't know where they're going. They're going behind that trim and down and maybe outside. I guess maybe the nest is outside, or there might be a little one behind that trim. I don't know. But let's see. Say hello to the camera still. No, she's gonna walk away. But we'll see if I've left them long enough to Yeah. So there's still more. Like this morning there was even more than that. So I think they are slowly dying out because they're not as numerous as they were last night. Last night when I first put the jelly traps out, it was pretty thick, and so you could tell there was another little colony that had been made somewhere. And that's what I read, that they'll branch off and make new colonies, so you just got to keep at it, really. So I will leave this, and when it dries out, if I need to, I will put more down, because that mixture I made, it made quite a bit, and so probably 2 or 3 more times, whatever. But this was the second time that I did it, so it goes really far because you want to spread it kind of thin. The first time, actually, that was too thick. I did not need to. That was overkill, and so this is a little bit thick too. I probably could smush it down a little bit more, but it doesn't matter. They usually just feed on the edges anyways. It's just being wasteful, I guess, to use that much, you know. And if I had a huge house with a huge problem, obviously I would try to spread it as thin as possible to, you know, do more traps and everything. Alrighty, so that was my update. Today is June 2nd, like I said, and they're slowly going away, and hopefully I won't have to deal with them anymore. Alright guys, talk to you later. Bye.